Welcome to the Mike and Mike Show.
Bum, bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum. All right, Mike Weed. I had a stroke about 5 years ago, and I'm starting to get this somebody to stroke and other people, all different kinds of things, and so is Mike
Mitchell.
Yeah, and you got a story for you too. We friends for high school,
Junior high school.
Junior high school, and so I known him a long time. Lots of fun.
Indeed.
So yeah, your story. What's
Yeah. You know, my beef wasn't a stroke. My beef wasn't a PTSD from being in military. My problem was that I suffer from alcoholism. From the very first moment I took a drink, perhaps around 14 or probably 14 years old, I knew it was something that was going to make me feel better than I thought I felt about myself. I always had a low vision of myself growing up, and it wasn't because I had a lack of friends. It wasn't because I had a lack of love for my family. It was something that was internally, dug into me, clearly of my own making, but I can't explain it.
yeah.
But those problems seemed to go away. Those feelings of self-worthlessness and just not belonging went away when I put alcohol into my body.
Interesting.
A lot of people thought that.
Yeah.
Because there's Pagliacci is the sad clown. Like he
Yeah.
would go out and perform for people, and everybody would laugh at all the jokes and shit. And but then he'd go home and look in the mirror and say, "That's exhausting."
Really? Huh.
It was always we're good liars, and we're good, and it's easy to pretend and put a mask on. I also discovered cocaine and Ritalin in college because one of my buddies had a never-ending supply of Ritalin, and
Wow.
and that was always fun.
Yeah.
I always had this particular fondness of getting loaded. I don't know, and that's what I figured it was. I didn't figure it was a disease of alcoholism. I thought I just really liked to get loaded and have fun. But college never lasted. College wouldn't work because I couldn't invest the time into studying. I could invest the time into getting loaded. So college wasn't for me. So out I went because I discovered that I wasn't an uneducated, stupid human being. I had a brain. So I went out and I just started working. I don't know how long. I don't know how many semesters in college, because I would do one semester, take a semester off, and then do the same thing. So I truly don't know. But it wasn't until the early 2000s when I really discovered it. Alcoholism starts with fun, then it goes to function. And by the 2000 and on, it was function. I did realize, I didn't know there was a specific problem. I wasn't able to tell the signs of withdrawal or something. But I would become very restless, at times. And then not realizing, but when I had a drink, all that restlessness would go away.
Wow.
And still not really understanding. I didn't know shit about alcoholism.
Yeah. Wow.
So anyhow, it got to the point where it was full function, where I would have to drink in the morning to prepare myself for work. And I got into a nasty habit of red wine in the morning.
Wow.
And I would drink keg cups of it. I would have 1 or 2 glasses of wine at home while I got ready. And then I would tell myself, don't bring one for the ride to work. Don't bring one for the ride to work. But I would. Wow. And I would always have coffee to gargle with to try to kill some of that smell. But it never worked. And then, so you get to work, you're fine. I'm straight as an arrow. But then come noontime, this started happening. I found it work. And I couldn't quite understand why. I still didn't really understand what the hell it was, but I would start shaking. And I knew I needed to drink.
Wow, that's amazing.
So then so then it became around noon, I would swing out of the office and have a couple of drinks just to stop that, you know. And then by the time 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock hit, it was off to the races. You know, then I was free. I didn't have to pretend to do a good job at work. I didn't have to pretend to be nice to anybody. I could go home. I could go home and get loaded. But then, of course, family starts catching on to, you know, Mike's not really fun to be around. And I sensed, I knew it, but instead of saying, boy, let me make a change, because I truly didn't know how to stop this. All I knew was I had to drink daily. You know, everyone would tell me, oh boy, you really like to party. The party ended a long time ago. It was an absolute necessity that I drink. And so, you know, I was an unwelcome guest at a lot of family parties.
You got a big family, right?
Big family.
Yeah.
Big family. And so instead of me saying, boy, that makes me feel bad, I immediately would lash out and, you know, basically screw them. Who the hell do they think they are, you know? But when I had those times, when I was going, you know, when I'm lying in bed and ending my day, if I'm lucid enough, you know, and really thinking about it, that hurts, you know? So that only dug me deeper into this, you know, let's use the word depression. I do not suffer from depression. Thank goodness I don't have that real disease, because that's a nightmare.
Thank God,
You know, but it would sink me lower into self-worth, you know, or, what am I worth? I'm nothing, you know. And then the greatest day came for an alcoholic that could ever happen. It was the end of 2012. I got laid off from my job, and I had been there for 11 years, I think. And the first words out of my mouth was, how much money do I get in my severance? And this was 2012. And it was enough to keep me afloat for certainly a year of doing nothing. And I had this in my head that I wasn't going to work anymore. And by 2012, I had already done one rehab stint.
So what was that?
In 2007 or 8, I can't remember. I had gone into detox. I went to a detox program for a week so I could detox. And then I went into a 28-day program in Torrington.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
So they ship you away, and and they tell you all of these really fascinating things about, your disease. And I started picking up little pieces of the puzzle of alcoholism.
Yeah.
But they teach you what doctors would teach you. You talk to a psychiatrist once a week. So I'm there for 28 days, so I'm talking to a therapist or whatever.
Yeah. Did you like it? Was it a waste of time, or was it interesting, or?
Well, it was a lot of fun to take 28 days off.
Yeah.
And live like, once again, you're in like a camp.
Yeah. But did you, the first day, first week, was it hard?
Well, sure, like anything else, right? You have to get used to the people. You have to get used to your surroundings. So there's that, the detox process.
Exactly.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Sweating uncontrollably, shaking like a leaf. You really start to lose a lot of your mental capacity. You really start to lose your mind. But then that's why you have the drugs that they load you up with.
I didn't know that. Okay.
The idea of a detoxification program is to basically put you to, in simple terms, basically put you to sleep for a couple of days. Get you loaded on benzodiazepine, which is a bad drug in itself, but under the right care, it's medically assisted, Under the right care, it just puts you to sleep for a little bit, and it allows you to basically avoid seizure.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can have a seizure if you're withdrawing from. Alcohol withdrawal can be deadly.
Wow.
Heroin withdrawal is not deadly.
Yeah.
You will wish you were dead.
Really?
Yes, it's particularly brutal.
Wow.
But alcohol withdrawal and benzodiazepine withdrawal can be deadly.
Wow. Interesting.
So that's why you have to be medically detoxed. If you're just a disco drunk who goes out on Fridays and misbehaves and gets pulled over for a DUI and says, "Oh, geez, I drink too much. I have to stop." You don't need a detox.
Yeah.
You just need to, you just need to behave better.
Yeah. Me, yeah, I know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the detox is a 6-day period where you can slowly wean where you can wean your body. So the physical allergy of addiction, the physical allergy of alcoholism, that will go.
Okay.
Okay. You will not shake anymore. Your muscles won't tighten up like this. I mean, there's very bizarre things were happening to me anytime I experienced any withdrawal. And that is why, particularly as soon as I felt restless and started to shake a bit, I went right to the bottle.
Exactly.
And so then after that, they get you into a 28-day program. And the 28-day program is filled with, lessons that therapists and doctors have come up with.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it's good. Some of it's particularly silly, in my opinion.
Okay.
But
Explain that.
some of the stuff they tell you, there's, halt. They use this all the time. It's a warning sign. Halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
Drink.
If you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you might drink.
Yeah.
I drank if the sun was out. I drank if it was raining.
Yeah.
I drank if I had a great day. I drank if I had a shit day.
Okay. That's.
So I couldn't relate. I couldn't relate to a lot of this stuff that they were telling me.
Mm-hmm.
So you get out.
It's clean. I remember.
Clean. Yeah.
Hey man, he's back.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was the first time.
Yeah.
And then of course it happens again. So you go back to, what happens is the sober life is fantastic, right? But guess what?
Yeah, time.
The sober life becomes just as miserable as my drinking life because I hadn't taken care of that issue that I had at a very young age. There was just this inherent feeling that I just really didn't belong, and so that comes back. Life gets back to normal, and then I'm restless, I'm irritable, discontented, I'm not happy with life. So I go back to the only ease and comfort that I fully understand, and the only ease and comfort that I would ever get was from alcohol. So back to it, and then it would happen again. Now here's what happened for me particularly, is I have a lot of friends around and they all know that I was in a detox in 2007.
Yep, I remember that.
My family obviously knows.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is where things get dangerous because I slipped. Because again, I still didn't have there was something within me that made me unhappy. So now I have to hide from everybody. It was a struggle to go out and pretend that I wasn't drinking. Mouthful of mints,
But really.
But then hanging out all day at a party, you start to get itchy again. I would bolt as soon as I can. Parties, family functions, work events, whatever. I had told...
it's just a tick. Your brain just got this, it's still ticking.
Yep.
It's, go it again.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
And then from that point on, there was some family, a sister or, someone where my mother, God bless her, they would say something like, I suspect you're drinking again or something, Oh, no, don't be ridiculous. Because I will lie knowing full well that they know the truth.
Yeah.
Just so I can escape and and go back and be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I wanted. And then, so all that hiding, all that isolation spins you further out of control. And, so you go out to search for people who know nothing about you.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then you can find that element where you can drink to oblivion. You find that in areas where people say, people that like to use crack cocaine. You know, I found a lot of good friends that did smoke crack cocaine, and I particularly liked crack cocaine.
Really?
I never got it's a very mental addiction.
Yeah. More.
Yeah, more till there's no more, and then you
Then you gotta.
stare at the ceiling for a couple of hours and fight through it.
Wow.
But I never became addicted
Thank
to
God.
that.
Thank God.
Or the opiates, the pills. You know, I would use them. It was like a fancy appetizer at a fancy restaurant. I didn't go there very often, but when I did, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. But you know, they call it the drug of choice. Well, apparently those two were my drug of choice because it didn't destroy my life.
Really?
My drug of no choice was alcohol.
Wow.
And then by 2012, again, I wasn't working, so I spent every day drinking. I'd wake up with the shakes, I would drink. I'd watch the news, drink. Next thing I know, it's maybe 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm well. So I go to the bar down the road where there's a bunch of old people who don't know me. They just know me as Mike. And they probably suspect I drink a bit too much. But I would go there and I would have a couple of whiskeys with them. And then escape back to my home where it was just me and a cat. You know, I had no one to bother me, no one I had to answer to. You know, the phone rang, it was always so painful. Every time you hear a door shut. Because again, now remember, people, despite the fact that they know, I'd already gone through one rehab. And in my head, all right, well, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, why?
That didn't work.
Yeah,
The success rate is the success rate is not good.
Okay, you knew that, you researched that.
Yeah, and there's data to support that, which is obvious, which is why why rehabs stay in business. They want you well, but they don't want you that well.
Really?
I mean, that's an opinion.
Yeah.
But if everyone could go, if that was a one-stop shop, that wouldn't be an industry. That wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar industry in this country.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I thought it was better and okay.
No, I mean, again, disco drunks might get something out of it.
Okay,
You know, the kids who are just a little out of control might walk out. There was something deep within me. There was an issue with me inside that wasn't going to let any therapist or any counselor convince me what my problem was. So on it went. 2012, I didn't work a single day. Or 2013, not a single day of work.
So, got the money though, I didn't know.
I still had money from my severance.
I didn't know that, yeah.
They had said, because I told them, I said, just give me the lump, I'll take the lump sum. And they had said, well, if you take the lump sum, you can't come back to GE. And I said, well, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
There was something, I think, deep down inside me at that time that I had planned. Now, I don't know how old I was. I was certainly adult age, making good money, and certainly an adult who should be responsible enough to know better. So I knew damn well that I was taking this time off, and if I ended up dead at the end of it, by accident or maybe by my own hand, that's fine. If I ended up a bum, living behind the Target in Southington or something, that's fine. I didn't know what was going to happen, but one thing I knew for certain is it was going to be hard to find another job.
I know, you had a nice job.
Because the problem became this. In 2013, or 2013, not a day I worked. Early 2014, see, this is where things get really muddled because my father died in 2014. 3 weeks before he died, I had gotten my third DUI arrest. So things were really going out of control. And so I was not, so the timeline is fuzzy. But after my father had passed, a decision was made that maybe I would try this detox thing again. because apparently I didn't know this, but apparently my family, everyone knew at this time, around the time when my father was dying, that I was massively unwell. And again, to some of my family members, it was like, shit, don't tell me Mike just can't put down the bottle. You know, they were like, because they didn't understand what alcoholism is. You're just a pant-pissing drunk who doesn't, who can't follow rules well.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case. So in May, I went to a detox. Again. And after that detox, I detoxed, I got myself physically well, and out I went. I went back home. Still no job. But as a result of the third DUI that I had gotten, so I was taking these classes, which brought me to the detox in May of 2014. Out I went, white-knuckled. You know, I think I made it 70-something days without a drink. And then that day came. There's not a cloud in the sky, nothing went wrong. It was just, once again, I know how to feel a little bit better about myself, about life, about every situation, and that's to have a drink. You know, we make the decisions to go back to drinking as a sober person, as someone who has not been, drinking. We make these decisions sober to go back. So what's wrong there? I don't know. And it would drive me crazy. It would bother me a great deal. Like, I can't believe I did this again. So I'm not going to try. I'm not going to drink tomorrow. And these are the battles I would have. I'm not going to drink tomorrow. And you want to know what? I may wake up the next day and not have a drink and white knuckle it. But that weight on my shoulders, it would break. It would break. So that didn't last very long. And then I got the eviction letter. I was being kicked out of my apartment where I had isolated. And now I had no idea what I was going to do. And this is funny, because I remember I interviewed for a job with someone that we both know. And I got it. Now, I had been drinking all day. But remember, when I drink,
it was fine.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I drink just enough to be okay.
Yeah.
And they offered me the job. And as I was walking out of the building to go get into the car that my mother was driving, because I just got a third DWI and I can't drive anywhere, I'm saying, A, how am I going to get to work? Am I going to have to get a ride from my mother to and from work at 39 years old? And then the next question came, what happens midday when I start to shake?
That's the real point.
That's the big problem.
Real point, because you can't drive. She takes you, nothing to get the car and get drunk.
Yeah, and this was in Cheshire, so I know where, we all know where every package store is.
Yeah. Wow.
And I knew that this would require a walk that would probably take up my hour lunch, without a doubt. So I mean, I'm like, well, I'm really screwed.
Wow, that's hit you like, that's not gonna work.
No, that's not gonna work. So I'm dealing with my probation officer as a result of the arrest in March. I'm dealing with the fact that I could have a job, it's offered to me, but there's no chance in hell I can possibly stay sober. I cannot physically stay sober.
Because you're drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to drink to survive.
Yeah.
And that might be a little far-fetched, but literally to not go into withdrawal, to become violently ill, I need to drink. Okay, so I can either be buzzed at work, or I can be shaking uncontrollably and not even be able to write. I remember I was doing some work with my brother during that period of time, doing some work for him, and I would have to sign something, and I would have to hold my hand down like this just so I could get a signature.
Wow.
Now that's not
everybody's your brother. Everybody's like, this is hell. Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do. I wasn't going to work. And I was being evicted. And all of a sudden that thought I had in 2012 when I got laid off was coming to be a real reality. Am I going to die? Am I going to become a bum?
Yeah.
And I really started thinking that I was going to become a bum.
Oh my God.
No one in my family would well, they might, but there'd be serious restrictions, like no drinking if you're gonna live here.
Yeah.
You know, I had become something that I had never envisioned I would become. So I was going to be homeless. I was dealing with this court issue. I could not get a job. I could not draw a sober breath. Shit was really crumbling.
About you, all things are falling
Fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like that cylinder. Once
Exactly.
that marble starts getting closer down to the end,
Yeah.
that thing's spinning and going a hell of a lot faster.
Yeah, okay.
So it's very scary, but not at one point did I think to myself, well, now's the time to get help. At least I didn't outwardly think that, but I think internally something was telling me, now is the time. And while I was packing up my apartment, I think one of my cousins was gonna let me house all my shit, but I still had no idea where I was gonna go. And if someone had offered anything, a solution, a place where I could stay, I don't recall. But something happened while I was there. My roommate there, she had a never-ending supply of Xanax. So I had begun taking plenty of those on the, whenever I could, a small handful. So I would snort them ideally. So I was doing a lot of those at that time, and of course drinking what I drank, and I would drink the minute I woke up, and I would stop drinking when my body physically would not let me drink anymore, and then I would get up and repeat it. This is what has started to become of me. So something happened while I was cleaning out the house. It was late at night, and I had discovered a hunting knife that I had bought, who the hell knows when. But I had bought this knife. And the next thing I know, I'm in front of my mirror and I'm covered in blood.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I to this day don't totally recall any of that. But if that's not a cry for help, because I wasn't trying to kill myself. If I wanted to kill myself, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yep.
But I'm too chicken shit to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that was a cry for help. And I called 911 on myself, and next thing you know, I'm in a psych ward.
Oh, really?
And my mother being wheeled in on a wheelchair, because it's a long walk. My mother just can't walk long distances. She wasn't disabled. But here she is being wheeled into the room, and she says, is this because of me and your friend? Is this because of how you were brought up or something like that?
Yeah.
And oh man, what a killer. It was such a punch in the gut. No, it's not. I don't know what the problem is. And and that was the truth. I don't know why I did that.
Wow.
So after the psych ward, back into a detox, and back into, once again, a 28-day program in Torrington.
The same one?
The same one. So I was there for 28 days, and in the meantime, now I had come to I think everyone had, 28 days is a Band-Aid. It's not going to do the job. And I don't have the willpower and strength to walk out with my head held high after 28 days.
Yeah.
And say, I'm never going to drink again.
Yeah, you tried that.
I've tried it, and I just know me. And so I had the opportunity to go to a 3-month program after that.
3 months. Yeah. And
in there something started to change. Something started to change because I had started reading, I'd started reading about these 12-step programs. There's a 12-step program for everything.
Yep.
And there should be a 12-step program for a lot more.
Yeah.
But I had started reading it and having a general understanding, very high-level understanding. I never peeled back the onion. But I also began learning how to meditate. 3 months there, they can't teach you the same curriculum over and over again. I think things would become shit, and people would bolt. So there was a lot of other opportunities a lot of other methods how to cope, And I discovered meditation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Really?
I really liked it. Did I utilize it? I tried to utilize it to its fullest, but it's difficult. You know, meditating is like riding a bicycle. You've got to keep going, keep going. Yeah. And then once it clicks, you've got something pretty good. So after those 3 months, I remember the guy telling me, January 15th, Mike, 2015, you're going home.
Yeah.
And the first words out of my mouth were, is there any chance I can stay one more week after that?
Wow.
Just because in my head, I'm like, well, I'm going to be shipped back out to the normal world where I am not going to find life suitable enough for me, and I'm going to reach out for that solution that I know again. I'm going to be fucked. And, but you know, he laughed, you know, and he said, absolutely not, your insurance won't do that. And, but the state insurance, I didn't have a job. I was on state insurance, the state's paying to help get me sober, you know? And so I got out of there homeless. I didn't have a home. So I was able to finagle my way here and there. I hung out at my mother's house, but I couldn't stay there. She lived in a community where, you know, that wasn't part of the rules. Yeah. And I was also staying at this farm in Wolcott where they had all these horses.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And that was a wild place, and I took full advantage of that place. There were very spiritual people there, very spiritual people, and I would I would meditate. And I was working, I was helping out there, I wasn't being paid. And, so it was really sweet. And then one of my sisters had bought a home in Meriden where I was able to, they had a basement. He said, well, we'll shove your ass down in the basement if you'd like, you know.
Really?
It's not a beautiful basement by any stretch, but it's a place for me to crash. Now again, I'm 40-something years old, and this is what I'm doing, you know. I should really have a house, or a home of my own. Yeah. You know. So anyhow, I was doing really well. I took a job that didn't pay very much money, had very little responsibility, but I enjoyed it. And then, and this was over a year and a half, probably over a year and a half. And then life all of a sudden, once again, became unsatisfactory. You know, so what I started discovering here is I'm not happy sober. I'm not happy under the influence of drugs and alcohol. I'm not. So it's a constant battle. But once again, then there it is. I make the decision on a sunny afternoon.
Did you?
To walk down the street because I didn't want anyone to run down the street. I had to run because I wanted to get back in time before anyone realized I was missing. And I picked up a pint of vodka. And back at it I went. And so then, then another detox in April of, I don't know, no idea. April of 2017, a detox. Got out of there, Easter. They'd given me some medicine to help keep the cravings down, but I got out of this detox and went right back to work. And I was there for 5 days, not 6, because I had to get back to work. I get back to work, my muscles are tightening up on me. My body is still...
You're just,
not
you ready, but...
You put all that stuff into your body for as long as I did. Yeah. Your brain notices that something is missing. Yeah. There's something wrong with this body.
I know how I'm feeling.
Sure, absolutely you do. Absolutely you do. So that was like a week, and then I just said, oh, fuck this, I'm going back, I'm going to drink again. So I drank again. And then the greatest thing that ever happened was in August of 2017, my family finally decided enough of this, and they wanted to have that intervention.
Yeah.
And I had to certain people been letting it be known that, things aren't going so well. I wasn't posting it on Facebook. But I was letting certain people know that, I'm back at it, I have nothing I can do, I mean, there's something I can do, I suppose. So this time there were some consequences when they sat me down. And, you watch that show, Intervention, your drinking has affected us in the following ways, and the person's like, eat shit, I'm out of here. I don't need this, I'm leaving.
Exactly.
No, I thought it was beautiful.
Oh, really?
Absolutely I did. And that was, you know, and so they're all encouraging me that something has to change. And there's going to be some consequences. Can I blame them? At this point in my life, can I blame these people for finally saying, listen, this time something's got to give or else. There was never that or else. It was, oh, we really love you, go get well, you know. So I got everyone off my case and got them out of the house, and then I was going to cut the grass. And as I was cutting the grass, I said, man, you really have two choices. Two choices. One, go be that homeless bum. And, you know, although I'm chicken shit to kill myself, at this point, at 43 years old, at some point I would have been like, you know what, fuck this. I'm out of here.
Really?
You know, I really thought that. I thought that was option one. And option two was to take some advice from a guy I had met through my brother who had some experience in long-term recovery through this whole idea of a 12-step program. And I said, okay, well, if I'm going to do this 12-step program, I have to do it with the most 100% honesty and 100%, because it really is now in my head truly bum and kill yourself or get well. And get well 100%.
Wow.
Do not get well. Do not get well for 6 months and then let's do this all over, because now
you tried that.
I've tried it a million times. Now my family has also said, listen, or else. So this is serious now. I've got, you know, so I understand my two options and which one am I going to pick. Now, you know, I had developed again some meditation and some understanding of this 12-step work to get well. And I thought, well, we'll try this 12-step work. I think that was the obvious decision I was going to make. So back into detox I go. And this time they offer me once again to go back to that 3-month program that I went to up in Lebanon, Connecticut. It's like a day camp. I said no. I said it hasn't worked in the past. It's you know, it's a band-aid. It might help me for a little bit. No, I've got a plan. And you know, and these people, of course, oh sure you do. That's not very smart. That's not very smart.
But I got it.
Get me the hell out of here.
I got it.
Yep.
It was here.
So I got out of the detox. I went home, and unfortunately, there was some kind of family party because you know I'm just getting well. My body is once again, and this was a particularly bad detox. I puked all over the floor. I had shown up really intoxicated, so they couldn't give me the medicine to knock me out until my blood alcohol level had dropped. So I was there for probably 9-10 hours before I kept breathing into this machine, and they're like, not yet, buddy.
Oh my God.
And so it was particularly rough. But I got into work immediately. There's a term, the desperation of a drowning man. And I had it. You know, I had to get to work at once. I must get to work at once. And so this program really it requires 100% effort without question. And I was absolutely devoted to doing it with 100% sincerity all the way through, all the way to the end. And if that didn't work, then I can go be a bum and probably kill myself eventually.
Wow.
And these are all, that's an inner struggle. Who wants to live every day being like, well, those are options. I have to drink. Maybe I'll kill myself and be a bum.
No,
you know what I mean? Maybe I'll go to detox again. I mean, it's a long day.
Yeah, my God.
And so I got right to work. And again, fully committed. And not one day during that process did I ever say, I don't want to do that today. Maybe today I'll go golf poorly. You know? No, I did it. And the whole idea, right, is in a nutshell, is you have to get right with God. Now, the word God drives some people crazy. I don't know what God is. I don't think it's a him or a her personally. But I think it's a fundamental nature of reality.
There's something about
You know,
it, but not, yeah.
I needed to discover that. I'm not a religious person by, you know, by choice. But I needed to find something that was certainly higher up the food chain than Mike Mitchell.
Yeah, right.
You know, and so I discovered that. So I got right with a God of my understanding. Then I needed to get right with myself, and in doing that, I had to kind of uncover some truths about myself. And there's a process in which you do that. And so I started understanding some of my own character defects, and a lot of those character defects are what leads to being massively resentful at somebody, just being an overall prick, you know, being unsatisfied in life, you know, that feeling that I didn't belong, you know, that I was an unwelcome guest wherever I went, you know. Then get right with others. You know, reach out to some people that you know certainly you've done harm to, you know, and whatever harm that is. And I had a list that I went through and made right with those people, cleaning my side of the street. I could have talked to one person and said, listen, I did something back then and I regret it, and for that I'm, you know, for that I want you to know that I am truly sorry. That's where the word sorry should ever start being used when we're adults. Kids say sorry all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't do shit.
And it's interesting, yeah.
But then the next part of it was to continue that process. You know, you don't get a certificate and all of a sudden you walk out the door and you're well. You have to continue a relationship with something more powerful than yourself. And of course, that's in prayer and meditation. You know, and I get off on that. You know, that gets me pretty juiced and starts my day. It ends my day. It helps me in the middle of the day when I'm pissed. But I also have to be wary of my character defects because we are human after all.
Yeah.
I am by no means a saint. You know, I have to make right there. If I do something to someone, I have to immediately apologize. It keeps all the weight off my shoulders, and it keeps, you know, and it keeps me in a spiritual fit condition where I don't think that I'm a piece of shit.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I do that every day, I'm gonna be okay. It's not easy work, but there's a lot of people out there who could use this process.
Okay.
And understanding that process and why you do it, my life is profoundly different than it was for as long as I can remember. It is I feel like a brand new person. You know, there's nothing. I wanted to sleep until 11 o'clock this morning. Ideally, I'm a little bit of a misanthrope on the weekends. I like to stay in. I don't like to do stuff. But you and I talked about this 2 weeks ago. And there was nothing that was going to stop me from doing it. You know what I mean? But back in the old days, I would have given you any lie in the book. I probably would have told you that my grandmother had died and I couldn't make it.
Wow.
But then watch 6 weeks later when you try to reschedule, I tell you my grandmother died again. And you're like, God damn.
Wait a minute.
You know? But, you know, that's the hopeless condition of alcoholism. You know, I mean, for me, that's my experience, you know, where I couldn't get out of my own way to save my life. But I also didn't think my life was worth so much. And I could see, and again, it's not just alcoholism, it's in a lot of different situations. You never stopped moving. You still move, but you move with a limp now.
The arm is...
And that arm's pretty stiff.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
But I don't say that. I don't say this because we're in front of your cameras. I say this because, you know, you're an inspiration to a lot of people in a lot of different ways as well.
Well, thanks.
You know, I mean, certainly to me. You know, and I try to do that every day. I try to be an inspiration to other kids by I go to detox facilities. I go to shelters for people in recovery.
Wow.
You know, and they say, oh, you never recover from this. Well, my symptoms have gone away. I'm not cured of alcoholism. If I maintain my spiritual fitness, You know, if I maintain that fitness, I'm as recovered as I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll use that word recovered with pride.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
it's when I drop the ball. But it's been amazing. It's been about 18 months where every single day I'm hustling. I'm hustling for me, I'm hustling for the next person. I know damn well I've got to follow certain steps every single day. And they're all great steps.
Yeah.
It's all beautiful stuff. It's all being a really kind person. It's great stuff. And I work with kids and I go through this program and there's points where they'll stop contacting me because they're like, shit, I have to talk about myself now?
Yeah.
To you?
Yeah.
Well, you asked me to help. Yeah, you do, brother. And you know, and it's frightening.
Yeah.
But once you get through it, you're like, God almighty, that wasn't that bad, man. In fact, I feel like $1 million.
Good.
And I want them to see it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't snap my finger and make anyone that I was working with sober. I'd want them to go through the process that I went through. Because it can't be put into words how beautiful it is.
Yeah, well.
You got to go through the swamp before you can get to the ocean, baby.
Yeah, I know. And well, let's do this. You know, you're gonna get something, your house again. You get.
Michael, all that shit means nothing. It will come if it has to. You know what? I'm staying in that dirty basement. I'm staying there because I owe a debt to my mother to be present. She lives upstairs with the rest of the people that live up there. My sister,
good
the
person,
kids,
good person,
her husband. They all live up there.
Yeah.
I need to be as close to my mother as I possibly can.
Okay.
Because through all that shit I just explained to you, my mother and father had sleepless nights. I can't do anything. I can't tell my father that I'm okay now. You know, but if his spirit, I do think our spirit sticks around. If he decided to stick around for almost 5 years, you know, then he knows. But you want to know who does? My mother, you know, and my family. You know, I love those people.
Yeah.
I love those people because they did not give up. And you want to know what's even greater? You know what's greater?
Good
They're
family.
still short. I guarantee you there's some of my siblings are waiting for that ball to drop.
I know.
In fear, not in anticipation to be like, yeah, that son of a bitch. You know, but I'm sure some of them are waiting for this to happen. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Like years from now, we'll be your brother and your sister will be finally good, but years after.
Years and years of proving them wrong time and time again.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be awfully selfish of me or foolish of me to think that they should all of a sudden believe that we're never going to have a problem. And nor should they think that there's never going to be a problem. I can't think that way.
Yeah.
But what I have to do is every single day follow this very simple design for living.
Yeah.
And try not to take life too serious. And if I do that, then there's no reason to drink today.
Yeah.
You know, I won't be drinking today. That I assure you.
Good.
That I assure you. And tomorrow's looking pretty good too. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know that's good, and well, you're ready to go further.